All right, I want to thank our sponsor for today's episode, Thrive Market. So before I tell you all about Thrive Market and why they're amazing, I want you to know that you can go to thrivemarket.com/blonde, BLONDE, to see my curated favorites page. So a bunch of different products that I love that I get on Thrive that I pretty much order every week to keep life easy. So a bunch of different cleaning products for the house. I get Hudson's cat food, organic, non-GMO, healthiest cat in the land, and a bunch of other things, different spirulina powders, collagen powders, protein powders, supplements, Ayurvedic tongue scrapers, Ayurvedic toothpaste. The list goes on. You'll see all my favorites on there. And if you use that code or that link, thrivemarket.com/blonde, you will get an extra 25% off of your first order. And already there's so many perks of Thrive Market. Basically, you get up to 50% off of all different products, organic, non-GMO brands, and otherwise, because Thrive Market goes directly to each brand rather than having a middleman. So you will get these products that would typically be so much more expensive or just the way that you're used to purchasing them at different places. You'll just get them for so much less. So that's a huge benefit for sure. Also, everything gets delivered straight to your door. You just put in your address, they ship straight to your door. It makes life incredibly easy. You can shop by category. You can also shop by dietary choices, like if you're shopping by vegan or paleo or keto or baby food or whatever it is that you're looking for at this time. Whole30, gluten-free, raw. When I was raw vegan, I would shop by raw, and that was great. They have so many of my favorite brands, like chocolate brands, Hue Kitchen, and Eating Evolved. They have amazing skincare, Coco Kind. We had Priscilla from Coco Kind on this podcast, and I love that they have Coco Kind skincare on Thrive Market. They also have Justin's Nut Butter, Primal Kitchen, dressings and Bragg's apple cider vinegar, which I put in everything. So as you can tell, they basically have all of the TBB favorites, TBB approved products. They also have Siete, one of my favorites. So head to thrivemarket.com/blonde to redeem that order, get a nice big discount, and get all of these different products and brands shipped directly to your door. Super easy, super fun. Tag me on your Instagram stories. If you try them, tag them. It's so fun for us to see. And let's dive into this episode. Hello and welcome to the Balanced Blonde podcast, Soul on Fire. You are listening to one of our best of the show episodes today, meaning that I am taking a brief hiatus from the show for the first time since starting it 3 years ago to focus on my health and focus on my wedding and just really enjoy this season of life. And I hope that it inspires you to put yourself first in your own life. We have nothing without our health, and I have not had my health for the last couple of years. So I am striving to get back to a healthy state in my body, in my mind, and I am so over the moon to share everything that brings. So I hope that you enjoy our 8 best of the show episodes, which are some of my favorite episodes from the show over the last couple of years and also many of your favorites. So today you'll be listening to one of those, and I cannot wait to see how it serves you and how it inspires you. And if you've heard it before, then perhaps this time it will teach you something new. And maybe you've never heard it before, and today's the perfect day for you to listen to it. So whether it's the first option or the second option or something else, I know that you're here for a reason, and sit back, relax, and enjoy. I'm so excited to come back and host new episodes and connect with you guys. But until then, please enjoy these episodes. If the podcast inspires you, I would love and be so honored for you to leave a rating and review on iTunes and send me a screenshot to jordan@thebalancedblonde.com. And I will send you a free gift as a thank you and thank you personally and chat with you. And I'm just so grateful for everyone listening. Also, we have a Facebook group, the Soul on Fire Podcast Tribe on Facebook. Please join us there to keep the conversation going and enjoy, live a soul on fire life. And if you're healthy, enjoy your health. I'm so eager to get back to that. And if you are also struggling with chronic illness, just know that you're not alone. We have a lot of episodes on this show pertaining to chronic illness. So give those a listen if you're interested and enjoy. We will head into the episode now. So I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you, Jordan. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming to have you on.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry ever.
I'm like the worst. My schedule literally will change from day to day, and by change, that could mean I'll be in the south of France in 3 days. You know, like I have no idea where I'm going to be. Sometimes from moment to moment, but I mean, it's exciting. I'm definitely not complaining, but it makes it very, very challenging to schedule stuff like this. So although, you know, Taro from Four Sigmatic, Taro was just like, dude, how have you not been on Jordan's show? And I'm like, I don't know. How do I get on there?
Right.
He's like, let me introduce you. So I desperately wanted to do this. It just seems like every single time we scheduled it, I was out of the country or out of the state.
So do you usually travel to source ingredients for work, or also just for fun? And you're just a spontaneous person. So
yeah. You know, I always say to people, I didn't crawl my way out of hell to have an ordinary life. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And I'll go anywhere, especially if it's like, you know, I have a lot of rich customers and a lot of rich friends. And like, if they're like taking their private jet somewhere, I'll go to the opening of a refrigerator as long as there's a private jet involved.
I would too.
I need the likes.
Why not? Right? I know. Actually, I love the stuff that you post on Instagram.
Thank you.
With like a photo of you in a private jet, but then the caption is so profound.
Thank you.
Always. That's actually how, well, I already was such a fan because I've been coming into SunLife since it opened.
Yeah.
I read your book when it came out. I was totally flabbergasted just by your whole entire journey, which we will talk about.
Yeah.
So I'd been a fan for a long time, but then finding your Instagram and seeing just these super meaningful captions that you share just about like basically get off your phone and live in the real world. And that's what's going to fulfill you. I think there needs to be so much more of that on social media and also just in life.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, if there's awesome stuff going on, I mean, no one can fault anybody if you're on vacation or you're on some awesome trip or a work trip and there's cool stuff going on, you know, post like it's going out of style. But if you're not doing something like that, or you don't have something deep and meaningful to say, get off social media. Because it will rob you of your soul. I mean, just like drugs and alcohol will rob you of your soul without your consent, so will social media. And social media it's much more insidious because it's fun and it's acceptable and everybody does it. Yeah,
yes,
but it's not okay.
Right.
And you know, I did an experiment. Well, that's framing it as if I came up with the idea. My girlfriend at the time challenged me to go off social media for 1 year, to stop talking about what I wanted to do and to do it. And it hurt a lot because she always saw me on my phone and she's my girlfriend at the time. Plus I was kind of, I was older and I already had Riviera going. I already had SunLife Organics going. So I puffed out my chest and got very defensive and argued. And then she just very gently just kept encouraging me, like, why don't you just try for 1 year. I promise no one is going anywhere. People are still going to be on Facebook when you come back. It was more Facebook at that time. This is like 5 years ago. So she said, just challenge yourself. And so I went off all social media and I ended up writing the book, right? Which has sold out on Amazon 4 times. It's in Bulgarian. It's in Russian now. It's on Audible. It's in Spanish.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So I ended up writing this book that has helped to transform tens of thousands of people's lives, right? I started Malibu Beach Yoga.
Oh, yeah.
So, which serves our community in such an amazing, special way. And I honestly can't tell you that those things would have happened had I stayed on social media, because being that I have such an addictive personality, now we can see how much time we spend on our screens. But back then there was no judging it. And I just assume I was on there 15 minutes a day or an hour a day or whatever. I was on there for hours a day. And I was doing what I still catch myself doing now, which is comparing my insides with other people's outsides.
Right.
And seeing people on these amazing vacations, or seeing people in these fancy cars, or at, their weddings in Monaco or whatever. And like, why isn't that me? And, how come I'm not married yet? And how come I don't have that car? Why aren't I on that vacation? There's a lot of that. There's a lot of humble bragging on social media, right? There's an intense amount, especially with people your age. You're like 22?
28.
28. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you look amazing.
Thank you.
There's a lot of sarcasm. There's a lot of like going on vacation and being on a white sand beach and propping your feet up and taking a picture and saying tough day at the office, how's the weather back home. And
I see that all the time.
It makes me cringe. It makes me cringe. And the truth is, when I'm on a personal vacation, like if me and my girlfriend go on a personal vacation, there's almost no posting at all. And the phone is off and social media is off for the most part. But I'm not going to lie. If I get invited on tour with some band, or if I'm invited to, like, I think I'm going to Paris and then Cannes. And then I think my friend's getting this massive yacht again. He did it last year and he invited me to come hang out on it for a week. So I got to post. I mean, that's like dreams come true and, living my best life.
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring.
I heard something recently that kind of reframed the way that I look at certain things on social media, which is if you see something that you love, that you want to be doing, that you wish you were doing, let it inspire you. Put it on your vision board, put it on your vision board in your mind if you don't have an actual vision board, and just let it inspire you to visualize your future that way.
Yeah.
Not to just look at it like, oh, I wish that was me. Why isn't that me? And have all those feelings of comparison.
It's interesting. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that. Can I hear myself in here?
No, these are new and I don't know.
Can't figure out how to hear yourself.
No, okay. I've asked
that's funny.
Trust me, it keeps happening, but does it bother you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
So let me go back to, the vision board thing, and also what I've noticed about people that are super successful. So people that are super successful and I have my own definition of super successful. Super successful is, people that are really happy and they're happy with what they have. And yes, many of them are super affluent. Some of them are famous. Some of them it's all of the above. But the people that I surround myself with and the people that have done amazing things, they're always excited at my victories, and they're always excited about other people's victories. And when I'm talking to somebody like a Kelly Slater or like a Garrett McNamara or Rick Solomon, who's a gambler, when I'm telling them about my victories or about somebody else's victories, I notice they get excited and it's like cool for them. And they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. But when you talk to most people about other people's victories or other people's triumphs, you can see that they're not thrilled with it because they're living in a scarcity mentality. Right?
Yeah,
I
totally
they're
agree.
living in the opposite of an abundance or a prosperity mentality. And so you saying when you see something on Instagram, put it on your vision board or whatever. First of all, I'm a huge believer in vision boards. And if I can digress for a moment.
Yes, please.
So The Secret had a massive influence on me.
Uh-huh.
I know it's super cheesy. I know it wasn't shot well. The production quality was awful.
I love it. I love the message.
I love the message too, which apparently was derived from The Science of Getting Rich, which is a book by Wallace Wattles, I believe, from the early 1900s. Apparently, she took all of that message from that book, but I digressed twice.
No, I love it.
So I love The Secret. I watched it like just a lunatic. I watched it all day if I could. I used to put it on my laptop because I didn't have a TV at the time. I actually didn't have a house at the time.
When was this?
Early 2000s. I think it came out in 2003 or 2004. So I was crashing at this dude's house in exchange for labor, like washing his cars, washing his dogs, and whatever. And he helped me get a laptop. His name was Robbie, and it had a little slot where you could put the DVD in. And this woman, Cindy Landon, gave me the DVD of The Secret. And I would watch it and watch it and watch it and watch it. And the only thing I didn't like about it, some of the production quality was pretty awful, but the only thing I didn't like about it is there's this one scene where the dude's in his office and he's talking about vision boards, which I wasn't into vision boards at that time, or I hadn't experienced a vision board yet. And he tells a story about how they're in this giant house and his son comes in and he brings the box in and the son opens up the box and he finds his old vision board. And then he's like, and then I realized the house on my vision board is the house that we were living in. And my ego, my mind, my self-chattering, nonstop, whatever, was like, bullshit. That's not true. Like, you're a liar. Now, I don't know this guy. I don't know his son. I don't know anything about him, but that was too fantastic for me to accept, especially considering I was technically homeless at the time. I was making $12 an hour. I was a convicted felon, high school dropout, really hurting. The future wasn't looking too bright. So that was one of the things that was the main thing I didn't like about The Secret. I liked everything else. I liked the message. I started to practice the principles that they teach you in The Secret, and I started getting immediate results. And I got a snowball effect to where I found myself 18 months later, 24 months later, really doing well.
Wow.
Yeah, really doing well. However, every time I would go back and revisit The Secret, when that scene would come on, I would cringe. So fast forward, 10 years, 14 years later, and I bought my first place. This is 6 months ago. And I bought my first place late in life. Obviously, I'm a late bloomer.
But it's still an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you. And it's a beautiful place. And my assistant is helping me because I was renting one of the places. I lived in unit number 9, and then I lived in unit number 11, and then I ended up buying unit number 7.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I'm moving from unit 11 into unit number 7, and we're just like carrying boxes. It's me and my assistant, Stephanie. She's amazing.
She seems awesome.
Oh my God. She's the
emails
coolest
that I've shared with her.
Yeah. So she's bringing stuff over, and we're, as usual, laughing and, gallows humor and having a great time and all hopped up on iced matcha lattes. And she walks in and she has my vision board from like 5 years earlier, right? And she goes, what do you want me to do with that? And I had seen it sitting in my like meditation sauna room forever. It was always somewhere in my peripheral vision. However, I didn't really pay much attention to it because I never finished the top part. I also remember at one point I took a watch off because I thought it was like silly and pretentious. And if anyone ever saw my vision board, I just thought it was like silly. So I took the watch off, then I just cast it aside. So she walks in, she says, what do you want me to do with this? I'm like, oh, I don't know. And I look at it, and I'm like, whoa. And I look a little bit closer, and I realize where the watch was. I'm wearing the watch, the exact same watch, right? I'm looking at the home that I had cut out. It's not the home that I'm living in. However, if you come to visit, which I hope you guys do.
Oh, I hope so.
I'll show you the vision board. The home that I bought looked so much like the home that I had on my vision board. The same hardwood floors, I had one of those Japanese Toto toilets that like wash your butt for you. Or they do everything. But
yeah.
I had one of those on there. I had just had 2 of them installed in the place that I just bought.
That's
right?
incredible.
Everything on that vision board, including, I'm embarrassed to admit, but 7 years earlier, the idea of putting a private jet on a vision board just seemed like it would inspire me, right?
Right. No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, obviously I'm never going to be on a private jet. Like, I make smoothies for a living.
And look at you now.
Little did I know. So
Right.
the private jet's on there. The house looks just like the house that I'm living in. The exact same toilets I just got installed. I'm wearing the watch that I was embarrassed, and I took off the vision board. I got it anyway.
That's incredible.
And the one thing that I put on there, which made no sense, and I remember gluing it down, I wanted it to look fancy because I wanted my life to look fancy on the outside. Obviously, being at peace and having peace of mind and being in love and all that stuff is the most important stuff ever. And I hope I don't sound like a pretentious douchebag right now, but
not at all.
I cut out this picture from a Rob Report magazine that someone had left in SunLife, and it had this giant yacht on it, like mega yacht. And I remember gluing it and thinking, this is stupid. This will never happen. This is shallow. You'll never get this. You're being an idiot. I heard like my dad's voice, like, you're a effing dreamer and you're an idiot and you're a bum and you're never going to have anything because you didn't go to college. But I put that yacht on there anyway. And when she flashed it up and she's holding it and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God. She's like, you okay? And I'm like, and I looked at the yacht. It was almost identical to the 350-foot yacht that I had spent 4 months earlier in the south of France on one of the Saudi royal family's yachts. And it was just
that
like goosebumps.
Amazing.
Yeah, just goosebumps everywhere. And I'm like, nothing, just put it down. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, whoa. And then I remembered how I thought that guy was so full of shit with his vision board and how my ego wouldn't allow me to believe.
Yes.
Because if we truly accept that our thoughts, our repetitive thoughts, our constant thinking, visualizing, either fretting and worrying or, envisioning and empowering our thoughts and then our words, if we really truly take responsibility for everything going on in our life, good and bad, it's scary.
Yes.
It's really scary. And unfortunately or fortunately, depending on what type of mind you have, it's true. And the people that you say, when you see something cool on Instagram, be inspired by it, put it on your vision board, think to yourself, I can't wait until I'm living a life like that or something similar, right? Those are the people that are going to do well. And the people that are jealous and spiteful and, oh, well, she just has a rich boyfriend or he's just, whatever. Like, I heard he sells drugs, or I heard, like, those people most of the time have shit lives. It's the people that are negative and pessimistic. Not always. Bad things are going to happen to great people and great things are going to happen to bad people. But in my experience and my almost 50 years of living on this planet, if you're good to people and kind and loving, and you allow yourself to dream and you allow yourself to envision the type of future you want, the type of mate that you want, the type of car that you want, if you can picture yourself sitting in a serene environment with beautiful things surrounding you, and you really focus on that on a daily basis, sometimes moment by moment, and you're willing to get up and go to work every day because you can't just sit on your sofa, right? You can't just take pictures of your butt.
You have to take action.
Yeah, you can't just take pictures of your butt in a G-string, and you think that if you get a certain amount of likes, that's going to deliver the life that you want. You got to go to work.
Right.
Got to go to work. But whatever type of life anybody wants out there, it's available for them. And I'm living proof. If an idiot like me can become successful, then anybody can.
But you're so much smarter than you think. I mean, you're so much smarter than you give yourself credit for, because just having the will to overcome everything that you have and accomplish everything that you have, and also to let go of your ego and leave it in the past and take a year off of social media. You've done so many things that are so incredible.
Thank you.
So you're not an idiot, but I know exactly what you're saying.
That's debatable. I mean, I don't, maybe idiot is a little bit harsh, but I'm not smart and I'm okay with not being smart. And I like being the poster child of not having to be smart or educated in order to live a life beyond your wildest dreams.
I like that too.
Yeah.
That reminds me of my dad, who barely graduated high school, didn't go to college, experienced so much success, never believed he was smart, still doesn't believe that he's smart.
Yeah, same.
But look at what he's accomplished.
Yeah.
And same with you. So let's get into your story. Your life story is next level, incredible.
Thank you.
And I mean, everything that I read in your book a couple years ago just struck me so deeply for so many different reasons. But one of the reasons, I was madly in love with someone named Tommy, who I still love, will always love. My first boyfriend, first love, became a drug addict, and really, he's deeply depressed, and that kind of, I think, made him, that was his, like, that's why he loved drugs, because it kind of let go of all of his pain.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, I was very invested in just, let's get Tommy healthy, let's get him better. And it was my life for a whole entire decade.
Whoa.
So reading your book, and he also almost died so many times.
Yeah.
He's alive, and I'm so proud of him. He's doing a good job every single day.
Good.
But your story just impacted me so deeply, showed me that it's possible for someone who's just in the depths of hell to come out.
Yeah. That is the reason why I wanted to write the book. I mean, it did turn into a profitable venture because I actually published on my own, which most people don't know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Lion's Crest is like a paper straw. I don't know what the term is, but Lion's Crest is just basically a company that you pay to print books for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that I'm my own publishing company.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I wrote it people, like, at each victory, at each level of success, at each year of sobriety, being away from drugs and alcohol, I just thought to myself, man, I want to help other people get this. I want to see other people get this. And in 12-step programs, I found it very challenging because I couldn't help people to the degree that I wanted to help people. And also, the unfortunate thing is a lot of people don't want to change. A lot of people might want to hang out with you because you're cool, or because you hang out with famous people, or because you have a nice car, but that doesn't mean that they want to be clean and sober. And I was going through some really tough stuff because I'm very codependent and I wanted people to get better. And if they did get better, I was very excited and it was amazing. And I felt probably more proud of myself than I should have. But then there's a flip side of that. When I founded Riviera Recovery and I had all these clients coming through there, the ones that wouldn't get better or the ones that just refused to get better, I took it personally and I blamed myself. And owning a recovery center for somebody as broken as I was at the time and as codependent and insecure as I still am, not the best move for my emotional and my thought life.
Yeah, that would be hard.
Really hard. Owning a smoothie shop where I make iced matcha lattes for beautiful, men and women and, guys and gals to come in, and my neighbors are hugging me and the husbands are high-fiving me and the hot yoga moms are hugging me and inviting me to yoga. Like, it's like everything I ever needed. It's a sense of community. But having the recovery center was just, man, it was dark. It was
my gosh. Yeah. That takes a certain kind of person to.
I can't do it. I mean, I ended up selling it for like pennies on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, and I continued to get better and my life continued to get better, I would have people contact me all the time on Facebook, or eventually I got on Instagram very late. Mm-hmm. And they wanted to know, well, how can I get better? How can, and I was just like, I'm just going to tell people my story, exactly how it happened, how I ended up a junkie, how I ended up homeless, how I ended up mentally ill and on psych meds, and all the stuff that I went through. I shared about my sexual abuse and about the incest. I shared about the violence. I shared about a little bit about what I did to get money for drugs or what happened to me on the streets. A lot of that stuff was taken out. I don't know. Do you know who Neil Strauss is?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very famous author. Neil, just because of the kindness of his heart, because he's such a sweet guy and a good friend, he edited it for me.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and he crossed out a lot of stuff and said, it's getting dark.
Too much for people?
It's getting dark. It's too polarizing. You're going to scare people away. The picture on the cover is scary enough. The stories that you have said so far, but let's cut the rest of it out and let's get to the recovery part. So I shared about all of that and what people end up walking away with once they read the book. And here's the most bizarre thing. 95% of people that buy the book and read the book aren't drug addicts.
Right.
They're normal people.
Yes, who are fascinated by your story.
Yeah, if there is such a thing as normal. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not, heroin addicts don't buy and read my book. The sister of a heroin addict, or the girl that has an eating disorder, or the fourth grade teacher in Alabama that can't stop eating pizza at night, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, some of that is actually factual. But I get all these messages from all these people that they don't say, like, God, if an idiot like you can get through that. But they do say, like, I truly believe that if you can make it through what you made it through, given the circumstances and the cards that you were dealt, I now feel that I can get through anything. And I've gotten messages, some from drug addicts, but mostly from, like I said, regular folks that have let decades of disbelief go and have let go, years and years and years of not believing that they were good enough or that they were strong enough to get what they wanted or to get out of a challenging relationship or to start a business or whatever. I mean, from all over the world. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Your story is reaching people far and wide.
Thank you.
So let's tell people your story here on this podcast.
Sure.
If we could just back up to how did it all begin? It began with a really bad childhood, which I've already kind of hinted at. Really bad immigrant parents from different countries and a much older sibling that was put in an orphanage for a number of years and then brought out of that orphanage. And I'm fairly confident whatever they did to him in that orphanage, he was 8 years older, half sibling, than he ended up doing to me, which, pretty awful. And not just, it's not just sexual abuse. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of there's a lot of bad stuff that happened. My parents didn't know how to be parents, and I love them dearly. I just got done talking to my mom, as a matter of fact, when I was driving here. Does she live out here?
No, she's in Ohio. And I talk to my mom a lot. I don't talk to my dad at all. We don't have a good relationship. I love him dearly, and I want the absolute best for him. And he's living out his twilight years. They're both in their 80s now, and I love them both dearly. They were not good parents, and that's not their fault. They did the best that they could, considering the circumstances. There were other people that were much, much more challenging to forgive and to let go of. There was a much older, in his late 30s, there was a swim coach that took advantage of me sexually when I was a child. And that is something that I've gone back and forth with. There are times when I'm completely free of resentments and anger, and because, in order for me to live a great life, I have to forgive everybody and I have to be resentment free. But there were some people like that forgiveness came a little bit more difficult. And there's still times when I'll well up with anger and think, like, how could you do that to a child? Mm-hmm. It's just, and my dad, with the violence against my mom, it's the same thing. Like, I've talked about this a lot recently. Like, I remember the old black and white films and the Humphrey Bogart and how it was completely acceptable to slap a woman if she was crying or acting the sexist term that men used to use called hysterical when they would describe a woman. Mm-hmm. You never describe a man as hysterical. Right. But I remember watching those movies and, they would slap a woman and then she would miraculously snap out of being hysterical. Uh-huh. I get that. It was a cultural thing. I understand that it was accepted. The type of violence that I witnessed was not that. It was not slapping. It was bloody and it was violent and there were more fists involved. And I've had some exes say some horrible things to me, and I've said some horrible things to some exes, as we all do when we're in our teens and 20s, and hopefully not anymore when we're in our 30s, except on rare occasion. I've been kicked in the balls by an ex. Can't say I didn't deserve it. I got into some shoving matches and some knockdown, sort of wrestling in my drugged up when I was really high, and my girlfriend at the time was really high. We definitely got into some tussles, or I don't know what you call it.
Yeah.
No matter how psychotic I ever got, it never would dawn on me, and it never did dawn on me to make a fist and to use it against a woman. It's fucking disgusting. It's sickening. And I don't care that that's how he grew up, because he grew up in the Middle East, and that's a woman disrespects you, or you think a woman disrespects you, you grab her by her hair, you drag her into the street, you beat her. That's what's going on in the Middle East, whether people want to admit that or not, or talk about that or not. And I'm not, not everywhere and not in every household, but you live in Saudi Arabia and you disrespect your husband, or your husband perceives you as being disrespectful because maybe you set the cup down too loud, he'll grab you by your hair, drag you into the street, and beat you. And that is totally acceptable over there. So that's how my dad grew up. My father grew up in Palestine. And I don't want to beat up on the Middle East, because I went to Jordan and I met some of the kindest, most loving, respectful men on the planet. I have a Kuwaiti friend. I think that's how you say it. I have a friend from Kuwait, so I don't sound stupid. I have a friend from Kuwait that went to Pepperdine University, and my God, if I had a daughter, I would want him to be the husband. I mean, he's such a beautiful young man. He does comedy, and he does like a docu-series television show, and he graduated from Pepperdine. He's a Muslim, and he's one of the most beautiful human beings I've ever met in my life. So there are millions of Muslim men out there that are amazing and loving, and obviously many more millions Muslim women out there that are amazing. But there's a lot of violence and misogynistic behavior towards women in the Middle East, and anti-gay stuff, and gay guys being thrown off the roof, and anti-Semitic behavior. And having said all of that, it doesn't make it okay for what my dad did. And when I confronted him, strangely enough, we were in Jordan together, and when I confronted him, he said, "I don't remember."
Really?
He said, "I don't remember." And I said, "I'm sure you don't. I would have blocked that out as well. I've blocked out some pretty horrific behavior." And that was it. I let him know, "I love you. You're my dad. But that's what I saw happening when I was a child, and it's not okay." And to this day, I am at times still filled with anxiety and fear and terror for no reason at all. And I'm coping with that, and it's not okay, and it shouldn't have happened. And that was it. We never really talked again, and it's okay. But he knows I love him. I know to the best of his ability, he loves me. He doesn't like me, and I can be a bit much to handle at times. I can be a bit unbearable. So he doesn't have to like me. I think deep down inside, he does love me. But a shitty childhood turned into a life of drugs and alcohol and crime and acting out and, sex at a very young age, because I learned that's how you get attention, and drugs got heavier and heavier. There was some good times in my late teens. There was a friendship I had with a girl named Corey Kiefer, starting in junior high, and still best friends to this day. She lives in Manhattan Beach now.
I love that.
She's from Ohio as well.
That's incredible.
She's amazing. I'm not going to talk about her because I'll start crying.
Oh.
But Corey Kiefer was incredible, and Claudia. There was a girl, Claudia, that I dated for many years. They were both so patient and loving. They were both Cancers, which I find interesting.
Yes, Cancers are amazing.
Yeah.
What's your sign?
Libra.
Me too.
Really?
When's your birthday?
October 7th.
Mine's October 11th.
Awesome. My mom's October 5th.
Really?
Yeah, I love Libras.
I love Libras.
Yeah, Libras are the best looking, the smartest, and the most humble.
Libras are the best.
I'm just kidding.
I love Libras. We always strive for balance.
We strive for balance, but we don't
balanced.
have it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have balance until you put a bag of Doritos in front of me,
Totally.
or a pizza from Demori's Pizza.
Yeah, I have my things too. Do you know your moon sign and your rising?
Yes, my moon is in Virgo and my rising is Gemini.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Do you know your human design?
I don't know my human design, but I know that I'm a rooster. I was born in 1969, so I'm a rooster. And I'm very much a rooster. I have the characteristics of, the tiniest little animal running around the barnyard thinking that he's in charge.
I think Jonathan's a rooster
Really?
too. Yeah.
It's a funny sign. Because if you think about it, the bad side of a rooster is they're an annoying, loud, obnoxious, egoic little bird that thinks, when they wake up, everyone else has to wake up. The beautiful side of a rooster is they are literally the bringers of light.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the symbol of Hermes, or I don't even know how you say it, but the original god.
Yeah,
they were the symbol as the bringers of light, because we get up before the sun rises, which I do, and we call out to the light and we bring the light. So roosters
love that.
Yeah, roosters are fascinating.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I've never gotten into that side of
into Chinese astrology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm the horse.
So, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Anna was a horse. Anna, the girl from Iceland in the book, the one that.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
We need to figure out your human design. We'll have to look it up.
Okay. So some good times, some bad times, some cool times. There's a bunch of stuff in the book, fancy stuff like working for movie stars and rock stars and hanging out.
I worked with some cool people.
I worked with some cool people. And then just my desire to destroy myself, my desire to first numb myself and party, and then eventually anesthetize myself, and then ultimately to start seeking oblivion with the passion of a drowning man seizing a life preserver. That's kind of how it went. So just really, and the wheels came off, and I overdosed and county jail and overdose. And I'm just one of those idiots that I hit bottom and then I got out a shovel, and then I hit bottom again, and then I got out a pick and a shovel. And I kept going lower and lower and lower to the point where I was a walking corpse. I was 109 pounds. My teeth were falling out of my head, chunks of hair missing from my scalp, ringworm, scabies, filthy, just rotting from the inside out. And that was it. I ran out of steam. I didn't stop drugs because I'm a good guy or because I'm a virtuous guy. I stopped the drinking and the using. It's mostly using, but I don't want people out there that just drink to feel left out. Right. There was some drinking, but I stopped all of that stuff at the age of 33 out of desperation, just because I couldn't go on. I had no more, they say in 12-step meetings, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's true. I couldn't go to county jail one more time. I couldn't get beat up on the streets one more time. Panhandling was so degrading. And I felt like such a piece of shit every time someone would give me money, because they knew what I was going to go do with it. And I knew what I was going to go do with it. And there's people out there that were truly in need of help. There were single moms out there, raising 3 kids on her own that needed help. And I'm the piece of shit at the 7-Eleven, at 7 a.m. with my hands out, like, give me money so I can go get high. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I mean, it's sad. It's like, I'm glad that I wasn't the type of monster that would snatch your bag, or worse. I'm glad I'm not the type of monster that would break into your home and steal your stuff. Mm-hmm. That wasn't my jam. I was never a violent person in terms of that. I was a violent as a kid, like trying to be tough, which I'm not. But I never wanted to harm anybody to get money or get drugs. So I panhandled. And the wheels came off. I bottomed out through a strange and miraculous and definitely the grace of God. I got clean and sober, and I recognized that it was a miracle that I got clean and sober. And I started doing some menial work, washing dogs, walking dogs. These beautiful people kind of just came to my rescue. People that, were like, oh, come wash my car, or come do errands for me. I don't know. There's a lot of good people out there.
There are.
I was willing to work, and they were willing to pay me to work. And it was a long and arduous road, and I had to learn how to chop wood and carry water. I eventually got a job at a treatment center, because that's the only place where a guy like me can get a job. You're a convicted felon, you're a high school, I was a convicted felon, a high school dropout, can't read, can't spell, can't type. I can read really well. Can't spell, can't type. and no skills. I have no skills. I mean, what's my skill? I can't even catch. Like, I'm not a skilled person, right? I can talk, but I'm not a skilled person. So I was kind of my options were really limited. Bragging about I can talk really well, but I can't even think of the word option. So sorry. So, I got a job in a rehab. I got a little bit of the dude that owned the place, like, he liked me and he saw my ambition and my hunger and my hustle, and he got me some training to be an interventionist. You get paid a lot of money to do interventions.
Right.
And,
oh yeah, I remember that part of your book.
Yeah. And then a sober companion, and then I started Revere Recovery, and this was all on a shoestring and a prayer.
Yeah.
But it worked. It just worked because I was reading Think and Grow Rich. I was watching The Secret. I was reading The Science of Getting Rich. I was reading the Bible. I was reading the Torah. I was going to the Kabbalah Center and the Hare Krishna Center and, everywhere, the Self-Realization Fellowship. I would just, any place, if you could show me a place where there was positive people getting together that looked like they were happy and loved one another, then I wanted to be there. And I don't care if that's Catholic Church. I don't care if it's a Self-Realization Fellowship. I don't care if it's Temple or the Kabbalah Center, the Hare Krishna, Temple on Venice Boulevard. I hung out and still, when I have the time, hang out at those places. And I just kept putting good things in, good thoughts, good, visualizing beautiful things. And the one thing I will say, which is important for people to know, because it's like, how could you work 18 hours a day? How could you work 7 days a week? And it's important for me to tell people that when I was 8.5 months sober, I got a phone call from my mom that I had been a horrible son, and was like threatening her that I was going to kill myself and making her send me money on Western Union. And my mom didn't have any money. My mom was borrowing money on her credit card to send me money and I was taking it, doing drugs with it. Anyway, my mom called me and she said, I'm sick. And she was crying. And my mom's tough. She's a tough little Polish woman. And she said, I have cancer and it's not looking good. And I didn't have the money to help her, and I didn't have the money to go visit her. And that was the darkest moment of my life. And that was also the turning point, because I got off the phone and I kind of brushed it off because I was sitting with people and, no, I'm fine. I'm cool. It's, everything's fine. And then I went back. This guy, Sean, was letting me stay in his guest house in Malibu. There was no electricity there was no electricity. And I just sat there in that room as the sun went down with a candle lit, and eventually blew the candle out. And I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried and I sobbed, and I kept punching myself in my legs and, kind of growling at myself and, you fucking idiot. Look what you did to your life. How could you do? I was 34. I was 34 years old and I couldn't afford an airline ticket. I couldn't send my mom money, who was still working at 66 years old. She's like caring for dying people. Like my mom worked on the 6th floor of Toledo Hospital, and she took care of terminally ill people for 31 years. She did that. My mom's a saint in that regard. Yeah, she's amazing. Not the best mom, but she's a saint. And had someone showed her how to be a parent, she would have been a great parent. And same for my dad. So total forgiveness there. But that woke up a hunger inside of me. That experience of not being able to do anything, that feeling of being helpless at 34 years old, I was like, I'm never going to feel like this again. I'm going to be rich. I'm gonna now go to work and find financial independence and find financial freedom. So I can help my mom, so I can help myself. So God forbid I get a girlfriend someday and she needs help with something, I needed to work and make money and to be self-supporting through my own contributions. So
would you say that was like your ultimate rock bottom moment?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was fucking horrible. That was like, yeah, that was the worst. Now, let me finish up, because I always forget to finish up this part of the story. So I went to work, I went and just doubled up. I went and got a job at another rehab, and I was still walking the dogs and I was still washing the cars. And then I was At that time, Billy Bob Thornton had these two really cool kids named Willie and Harry,
Mhm.
and their mom, Pietra, who's this awesome woman. She hired me to like be their manny, to like teach them how to boogie board, and like and overpaid me, and they were great. They were like a little family for me, and I worked my butt off, and I saved every penny, and I ended up within 2 years saving up enough money to go back to Ohio. My mother beat the cancer, and I was able to say to her, I'm going to set up an annuity for you, and you're never going to work again. You're 67 years old, and I'm going to buy you a house. And I put a down payment on a house. And from that point forward, I spoiled the shit out of my mom and took care of her.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's the greatest accomplishment of my life, is taking care of my mother, because regardless of, her falling short of the mark in terms of, being there and protecting me, she still gave birth to me. She carried me in her belly for 9 months and allowed me to live in her belly and consume her body. Her hair fell out, she aged herself exponentially by allowing me to live inside her womb. And when I came out, she held me, and I peed on her, I pooped on her, and she cleaned me up, and she fed me from her breast and continued to deplete her own body and continued to nourish me. So, my mom gave me life. Yes. And all the moms out there, they all gave us life, and we are forever indebted to them. And I'm not bashing on the dads. I don't have a good relationship with my dad, and my opinion of men in general is still not the greatest, just from what I went through and from what I witnessed and from what I witnessed from my own behaviors. Men are not very evolved, and women are gods, and they walk around with this power to procreate, with the power of God, to make a life inside of their belly. There's nothing we can ever do to compete with that. And I know there's like this whole big thing now, like how women want to be equal to men. Women want to be equal to men. Women are far, far, far superior to men. Far superior. And I get it. I'm being dramatic and showing the other side of the argument. Yes, women deserve equal pay, and yes, women, should. My whole company's run, for the most part, I would say 80% by women, and thank God. Because if it was a bunch of men, I think they would make a mess of it.
Totally.
So anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked, which I often do. I'm chatty.
I love it.
Chatty Cathy.
It makes for the most interesting conversations.
Thank you. So, I worked real hard. I saved my money. I took care of my mom. I eventually started SunLife Organics with my girlfriend at the time, my business partner. And we just, we would make the drive to Air One, which we loved and we still love. And then we would go to these other places that were kind of organic or sort of organic, or they would say things like, well, some of the stuff we use is organic, or most of the stuff we use is organic. If anybody ever says that to you, they're full of shit. They're lying. It's not true. It's either 100% organic or it's not. You're either pregnant or you're not. There's no kind of pregnant. There's no kind of sober. There's no kind of organic. It's organic or it's not organic, unless it's an extreme example of like a face cream or there's this amazing face oil called Ollie, I think. Ollie, Ollie. This is amazing. Oh, yeah. It's like expensive. It's like $200 or something, $280 actually. But wow. I love it. I use it.
Oh, that's amazing.
And she like painstakingly sources her ingredients. And there are certain circumstances where I guess if you are making something like that, it's not organic. But we got really frustrated trying to find really healthy stuff. And so we were driving to this place called Real Raw Live, which was on Franklin. They were organic. We were going to Air One. We were going to Whole Foods, but then I found out Whole Foods Juice Bar wasn't organic, which really pissed me off. Ugh. And then we were going to couple of local places, which kind of acted like they were organic, but they weren't. And it really bummed me out. And I was like, you know what? Let's just open our own. And we opened it up with those intentions. Like, let's open up a place where everything's organic, where everything's amazing. Let's hire cool, like local kids instead of shipping poor, unfortunate people on buses that live 3 hours away, bus ride, shipping them in and sticking them in hairnets and shoving them in the back. Why don't let's just hire a bunch of like local people,
Yeah,
you know?
which you totally have. And that's
totally
the
have.
vibe in all of the shops.
Yeah. And they're mostly young because that's how it started out. And that sort of water seeks its own level. I've never not hired somebody because of their age. It's just like young kids want to work in a smoothie shop. I don't know what to tell you. Like I have, you know, people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that work on the corporate level and on the management side. But for the most part, yeah, it was like a bunch of cool young kids and amazing ingredients. And we started the first one in Malibu, and that was in 2011. And here we are in 2019, and there's 10 of them with 5 more opening. And it's amazing. I mean, I'm like that guy that like the worst fucking loser, you know, drug addict, degenerate, high school dropout, on welfare, food stamps, like, you know, born to lose, metaphorically tattooed on my forehead. I'm now living an amazing, productive, happy, meaningful life. That's my story.
You absolutely are. Your story is incredible.
Thank you.
No, it truly floors me.
Thank you.
To hear everything you've been through and everything you've overcome and all that you've created now, which for everybody listening, if you don't live in a place where there's a SunLife, it's truly the best of the best. I've been sipping on this matcha the whole time you've been talking. It's so good.
Thank you.
It's like, I've never tasted a matcha that tastes that good in my life.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why, because my intentions weren't opening up a bunch of stores and scaling it quickly and then selling it for $1 billion. My intentions were to find the greatest matcha on the planet. And so that involved going to Japan twice now and going and meeting with tea masters and going and meeting with matcha farmers and going to factories and inspecting the soil and inspecting the process. And that's not just with matcha, that's with, you know, our maca from Peru and our single origin heirloom raw cacao beans that we use, and, you know, pretty much everything. I mean, and I'm constantly in search of what else is out there and what's amazing. But my intention and my partner's intentions, both of them, are to nourish you and to heal you. And I know you talk a lot about healing on your podcast and in your blogs and your Instagram and all that stuff. Like, my intention is to be a part of your journey, healing yourself. And it's the vibe when you walk in. It's the way the place smells. It's the music. It's the people working there.
The crystals.
The crystals.
You have some of the biggest crystals I've ever seen.
Everywhere. And I go down to Brazil and I meet the miners and I, pick out the crystals myself. And I have a warehouse full of crystals. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. This is an obsession. This is a revolution. This is a revolt against all of the garbage out there. You know, when I see these young guys and gals hanging out at these places because it's a cool place to do an Instagram post, or they got the right wallpaper, or they got the right neon sign, and they're serving shit that's not even good for you. Like,
I know, it's so sad.
Well,
one of those places is walking distance from here, and I would go there because it's right there, until I realized what was in like those nut milks and then in the coffee, and I wasn't feeling good. And you can tell in your body.
Well, it's most places. I mean, if you watch a commercial on TV, I can almost bet you any amount of money it's something that you don't need, or something that's bad for you, or something that will kill you. Right?
Yeah.
If you walk into, we called them convenience stores back in Ohio. Here you call them liquor stores, but you walk into any store, just have a look around. I mean, I wish we had a camera right now, and I wish we were in front of one of those stores, because I've done it with and anytime I get a new assistant, I always love to play this game. I take them to this convenience store and we stand in front of it, and I say, quickly, you got 60 seconds to name 3 things in there that's healthy for you. I'll give you 3 $100 bills. And they're like, and they look, it's booze. It's Doritos. It's, it's all poison. I mean, some of them have pointed out that it's water, but I was going to say water, but it's typically garbage. It's typically in water bottles that have BPA in them, that have been sitting on shelves for weeks, months, years at a time, and the plastic is going inside of it. And so most of the stuff out there most of the restaurants out there, and they're I mean, look, they're not evil, I don't think, but I go to restaurants and I know the owners of the restaurants. I never see them eating there.
Right.
You will never see a day go by where I'm not in a SunLife Organics eating and drinking there all day.
I love it. I was going to ask you.
Every day.
Do you eat solely at SunLife?
No, not solely at SunLife. So I go to Bel Campo. I go to Justa. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian. Sorry to offend probably half of you.
No, there's a lot. We're very open
okay,
here.
I was a vegetarian for 12 years, and I did the whole like raw vegan thing for like, I think it was like 9 months or 7.5 months or whatever it was, and I became really sick and really spaced out, and I was starving all the time. And the way that my body operates, and I don't think everybody's body's different, and everybody's body is going to respond differently to different foods, right? That's just reality.
Yeah.
Do we need to move more towards a plant-based diet as a species? Yeah, or we're going to die, right? I mean, it's common sense. We got to, and a lot of my day, and sometimes like all of my day, will be spent strictly vegetarian or strictly vegan. But I got to be open and transparent. Like, eggs work for me, and grass-fed, grass-finished, meat works for me. So if I'm going to eat that stuff, I'm going to know the origin of it, And the woman that runs Bel Campo, she's got a 20,000 acre ranch up near Mount Shasta. And those animals roam free and they live a good life. They live for years with their babies. They drink spring water. They eat, wild grass that comes up out of the ground. And they are harvested in the most humane way possible. And I know that for a fact. And I have many friends that have actually visited their slaughterhouse. And, my friend Rick is always like, yeah, man, but things shouldn't have to die in order for you to live. And I'm like, yeah, but we're all going to die. We're all going to die.
True.
The animals are going to die. We're going to die. I don't feel personally, and again, I know I'm upsetting a lot of people out there, but I just don't feel personally that we were put on that on this planet for the sake of like saving the animals. I believe I was put on this planet by my creator so my soul can evolve. And there's a lot of amazing vegans out there. My business partner happens to be one of them. And
is your business partner your ex-girlfriend or
that's one of them? But no, Rick, who's more of a financial business partner. He's like hardcore vegan. He's a lot of his buddies are vegan. And he's horrified by my eating habits.
Yeah.
But he's amazing. Rich Roll is amazing. Darren Oline is amazing. I know tons of amazing vegan. Cindy Landon is an amazing vegan. And then I know a bunch of people that are not, and they're amazing too. I think Ben Greenfield is amazing. I think Joe Rogan is amazing. A lot of people out there that
everybody's bodies are different.
Yeah. So whatever floats your boat. I think it's much more important that we treat one another well and kindly, and we look out for one another and just try to be my version of being the man that God intended me to be at this point so far. And don't think I don't think about it or debate it. But at this point in my life, me becoming the man that God intended me to be has very little to do with my diet. And my identity has almost nothing to do with my diet. And I think that there's
agree.
Way too much emphasis put on people's identities. They're deriving their whole identity out of what their diet is. Men and women, paleo, vegan, whatever, primal. It's a little weird, man.
All right, before we get into this episode, let's talk about our incredible sponsor, Cured Nutrition. So I am currently completely obsessed with Cured Nutrition CBD. I met their founder, Joseph, at an event several months ago. We really hit it off. Me and Jonathan chatted with him for a while. We learned all about Cured Nutrition, everything that Joseph and his brand are up to in Colorado. we learned about their mission and things that they're working to do as a brand right now. And I just fell in love. You know that I only work with brands that I love from the inside out. So when it comes to the people behind the brand, when it comes to the product, how they source their ingredients, etc., I'm very, very picky. And CBD is everywhere right now. So you're probably wondering what makes cured nutrition different. And before I tell you, I just want to let you know you can use the code BLONDE as always for a great discount when you shop their website, curednutrition.com. Definitely check out their mint tincture of CBD. It helps with sleep, it helps with pain, it helps with inflammation, helps to calm anxiety, helps to manage if you have a lot of pain in your body, like I do. So, what makes Cured Nutrition different is that they are very high quality. Every batch of their product is third-party tested and subject to a multi-stage inspection to ensure they bring only the highest of quality products to the market. All of their products are sourced from organically grown hemp and tested for potency, purity, pesticides, and heavy metals, which is so important for a variety of reasons. They're a very transparent brand, so they oversee the entire process of their products from seed to sale. They spend so much time researching and testing everything before they put any product on the market. So some of their products that I love, obviously the mint tincture, I talk about it all the time. I take it every time I need a little easing of my anxiety, and it also helps me sleep. I also love their pain balm. It's like a shea butter, kind of almost like a deodorant stick that you would rub on your body, except for pain. And it's so amazing. I use it on my hands all the time since I have felt a lot of pain in my hands from having Lyme disease being buried in my joints. Also, they are big on community and vision. They're a collective of heart-centered people. They are drivers of positive change, and they're just all about promoting a healthy regulation of the central nervous system. That's what CBD is for. So check out curednutrition.com. Use that code BLONDE. Know that they ship nationwide. They oversee everything. They're pure and potent. They even have food. They have tinctures. They have treats. They have everything you could ever want. So enjoy. Use that code BLONDE. Let me know what you get. Tag me on Instagram and have fun. Well, I've done it. I've defined myself as a hardcore vegan. That was my identity. That's how I started my blog. And then when I stopped being vegan, I had to face the reality that I need to discover who I am outside of this really strict label.
Yeah.
Tons of controversy. People were outraged. I've never gotten so much hate in my life.
Yeah.
Then I went vegan again. Yeah. And now I'm dabbling again with eating eggs and just always trying to treat my body in the way that it's going to feel the best and have the most energy and just thrive.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a time, one of the good things about when I was a kid was that things like religion and politics and diet were saved for the family dinner table to argue with your relatives about. Not, when that dude that owns Cafe Attitude, Gratitude.
Cafe Gratitude?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
The dude
They're not vegan, right?
No, well, I was just going to say, that dude is super cool and they provide amazing service for the community that we live in. They got awesome vegan food there. Mm-hmm. I would tell anybody to go there, vegan or not.
It's delicious.
An amazing place, right? He found after many, many years that his body worked better incorporating some animal proteins. And then he took it a step further and he really started to look into agricultural practices and what was going on. First of all, I hope people know that if you're a vegan, thousands and millions of animals are dying so you can be a vegan. I grew up in Ohio where corn and soybeans are grown, and after every harvest, there's always vultures circling, because once you run that tractor through and you harvest, every field mouse, every rabbit, every coyote, every fox, every frog, forget about the insects, but all those little beautiful furry creatures are ground up. They're murdered as they're harvesting.
This makes me so sad.
It's reality. Yeah. And that is from people proliferating this message of, being vegans. Animals are
Wow.
going to die no matter what. We can take it down to the level of even the little worms and little bugs, but most people don't care about that. But a cute little bunny rabbit, you want to eat your soybeans, or you want to eat that corn, and
Oh my
whatever. Well,
gosh.
know that you're murdering just as many animals. Commercial farming, like in terms of the cows and the pigs and the chickens and all that, is disgusting as well. I mean, I'm not defending either side.
Right.
They're both disgusting and deplorable. That's why I seek out the farmers markets and the individual
Definitely.
farmers. And if I'm gonna get animal products, I want them as wild as possible and as humanely harvested as possible. So, in terms of my own personal business, SunLife, I would say, is 90% vegan, vegetarian. We do use some like whey protein powders and stuff in some of our drinks. But like that's vegan. That vegan is, that drink is vegan. And many of the drinks I drink on a daily basis are vegan.
And you have bone broth at
We do have
SunLife,
bone broth,
which is delicious.
Yeah, you know how that came about?
How?
A vegan.
Really?
Yeah, a 21-year-old girl named Frankie, who was hardcore vegan, called me from New York City, and she had never called me before. She got my number from her mom. And she was like, dude, you got to get bone broth. And I was like, is this a joke? I'm like, what do you mean, like marine plankton? And she's like, no, dude, plankton. I've never felt better. I've never, like, this shit is amazing. Like, you've got to get bone broth. And she was an athlete. And I brought it up with my partner, and she was horrified. She said, you can't do it. And I said, we got to try. We got to try and see what happens. And bone broth is one of the biggest selling items that we have. We've got bone broth, and we've got a couple of salads that have some animal proteins in it. But we aim to please everybody, and more importantly, everything is organic, and everything is sourced with just a fanatical desire to bring the best of the best of the best.
Yeah. Well, you're definitely living your highest truth, because
Thank you.
You put your heart and soul into SunLife, and it shows in every single way.
Thank you.
The atmosphere of each SunLife, to the food, to everything just tasting so much better than any other smoothie place or anything else that I've tried.
Thank you. What makes it great today are the people that work there and the people that come in.
Yeah. And the people are so nice.
The best.
They're so nice.
Yeah. The people that work at SunLife, and on every level, from the people that make our juices at 3:00 in the morning and deliver them at 6:00 in the morning, to everybody there. And especially on the corporate level, the people that work on the corporate level are some of the kindest, most loving, amazing people on the planet. And they have to deal with, I'm a petulant child, and my mood swings and my temper, and I'm just, because I always want to do more and to be more. I wasted my whole life. I wasted 3.5 decades of my life, and by the grace of God, got struck sober at 33 years old. And here we are, next month, June 18th, will be 16 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
June 18th.
June
That's
18th.
a good day.
Yeah.
It's my niece's birthday.
Oh, really?
Wait, and she's going to be 16.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Whoa.
So I know exactly what I was doing on the day that you got sober.
Yeah.
I was 12.
Wow. Yeah. So I just feel like, with my limited amount of time left on this planet, and I don't know how limited it is, but I'm pretty realistic. I'm going to be 50 in October, and I know that time goes by quickly. And I was one of those idiots that went out and like got a fancy watch and got a fancy car. I did that for a moment. Not really a fancy car. I drove a Volvo SUV, but I don't know. Like, I went and I bought a muscle car, and my girlfriend at the time, most of my great teachers were my girlfriends, and they were all amazing.
Sounds like you've had some amazing,
unbelievably amazing. I don't know why. I don't know what they see in me, but I've had these women come into my life, and we spend sometimes a few years together. The last one was 9 years together.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're the ones that really, pull me up by my bootstraps and hold me accountable and teach me. And going all the way back to Corey Kiefer and and Claudia and Jamie and all of them. I mean, I've had such amazing women come into my life and nurture me. And I think you guys want to nurture. I think
we love it.
There's a part of you that wants to mother, whether you want a child or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times women date men that are children on the inside.
We do.
Yeah, because you want to like take care of something. There's something beautiful about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm incredibly immature and incredibly insecure, and can still be quite a mess. But yeah, I've had these amazing women come in and teach me so much, and my life gets better and better. But I'm smart enough to know that the watch, the car, the fancy Instagram pictures, that stuff's that's not going to fulfill my soul. But leaving behind a legacy, when there's 100 SunLifes across the country, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that are eating super healthy food every single day, and there's thousands of people that got to get a job in a cool place instead of having a boss that's a dick.
Mm-hmm.
I hated my jobs. I always hated my jobs. And to be able to, I hope, be a cool boss.
Yes,
I know when I walk in and they're laughing and they're making fun of me, and like that's the environment that we promote.
That's the best.
Yeah, there's a lot of laughing and a lot of joking around, and a lot of hard work too. They work super hard, but I love it. And the book is done really well. And as I said before, it's in 4 languages, and it's on Audible. The book's called I Forgot to Die, and it's the easiest thing to do is just go on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
The second book is almost done. The second book is called Remembering to Live. And
that is the best sequel name ever.
Thank you.
And this is all about what you use in your daily life.
Yeah, this is like my little secrets of how you become successful and what you can do to become successful, and how it doesn't matter what your circumstances are. You can just go, you can become as successful as you want to become.
Yeah.
But again, you got to get off the sofa and taking cute selfies every day, regardless of how many likes you get, unfortunately is not going to pay the rent, and it's not going to help you to find your purpose. And, if we go back to what we started talking about in the very beginning, 2 years, I went off for 2 years. She challenged me. Yeah, she challenged me to 1 year. I did 2 years.
Wow.
And in those 2 years, we opened up 2 more stores. I opened up Malibu Beach Yoga. I wrote that book. I got in the greatest shape of my life. And I would challenge anybody out there to just take 90 days off. Just delete the app. You don't have to like completely go off if you don't want to, but just take 90 days off and watch the miracles that'll happen in your life. It's a lot of, here's the deal. You become what you focus on.
Yes.
You become what you focus on. So if your thoughts and your energy and your time is spent being a voyeuristically, I'm searching for the right word, but if your time is spent like looking at other people's lives and being envious and wondering why your life isn't better,
that's what you're going to keep attracting it into your life.
Yeah, you're gonna be full of pain and having some struggles. But like if your life is about getting up early in the morning, exercising every single day, no matter what, putting good, healthy, organic ingredients into your body, staying hydrated, getting the proper nutrition, you can eat as healthy as you want to eat. It's probably still going to need some essential fatty acids, some magnesium, maybe a little green tea extract. Stop by your local SunLife, grab a iced matcha latte.
You guys need to open in Brentwood so I can go there every day.
I'm not allowed to open in Brentwood.
Why?
Because I have a radius restriction because of my Palisades.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's close enough.
It's close enough.
I can make it there.
Yeah, I brought you a gift
Century
card
City.
somewhere.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
That's so nice.
I got you a gift card.
Well, this is exciting.
I want to, I want everybody. And I said this on the Skinny Confidential, and she told me not to say it.
I know, I listened.
I'm going to say it again. If you're listening to this podcast and you come into SunLife and you see me, grab me and say, hey, I listened to you and Jordan rap out.
Yes.
And you said that you were going to treat me to a smoothie or an acai bowl. And that is the truth.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
So you guys listening, you better do that. You better look for him. And we have to tell the story of Jonathan going into SunLife.
Oh, yeah.
Way back when you guys opened. So he said he was 19, but he's 31. You guys opened 7 years ago. So he walked in. He was young and he only had $6 with him and wanted to get the Wolverine smoothie. And was looking, he's like, oh, I don't have enough with me. And you were like, don't worry about it. We're just going to give it to you. And you didn't even ask for the $6. You didn't even say, just give me what you have.
Yeah.
You said, keep what you have. And here's the smoothie. And he'll never forget. He tells me all the time.
Wow.
Like, he was so excited that you were coming over today. He's
That's
like,
amazing.
he's going to be in our apartment. And
wow.
like, he'll never forget that people don't forget kindness. They don't forget a good heart. And you share that with the world.
For me, I just think it's common sense. You know, when I was hungry, this guy named Greg, who unfortunately is no longer with us, and another guy named Robbie, and this guy Frankie, who's also no longer with us. If you hang out at 12-step meetings, you see a lot of people die, unfortunately. But I mean, these dudes bought me cigarettes, bought me, a coffee, bought me lunch. Like, they took care of me, and I needed taken care of. I was desperate. I was hungry. There's this woman in Malibu named Sherman who owns a dog grooming place, and I had nowhere to go, and I had no money, and I couldn't get a job, and I went there every day. And she was scared to give me too much money because she didn't want me to go run back downtown and score. But she bought me a medium pizza almost every single day, and she bought me my cigarettes. I smoked 3.5 years into my recovery, which, whatever, I smoked for 20 years. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed. I'm glad I quit. Thank God. And if you haven't quit, look up Stop Smoking and Start Living. It's a DVD CD set that you can get online, and it's amazing. It's got I think almost 90% success rate. If you truly want to quit smoking, look up Stop Smoking and Start Living. There's this amazing hypnotist named Carrie Gaynard. I go and I see him for anxiety, and dude's a miracle worker.
I love hypnotists.
I didn't, and I found out that a bunch of fancy, cool people went and saw him. Yes. I'm not going to mention any names, but
for all sorts of things, they can work.
Listen,
miracles.
I'm scared of the ocean, and I just got back from Oahu. I was in Oahu 2 weeks ago, and I was way out, open water, ocean, super sharky, 80 feet deep. And I know that for a fact because my friend's a waterman, and I was on the back of his jet ski. And a pod of dolphins came up out of nowhere.
So beautiful.
And started racing alongside us. And he's like, dude, get in. Now, I've been seeing this hypnotist, dude, and dealing with irrational fears. And jumping in sharky water, never in a million years. It's just not in my wheelhouse, right? It's not happening. And yeah, he said, get in. And I got in, and I opened my eyes underwater, and it was so blue and so clear. And these dolphins were just flying around underneath me and coming up out of the water. And look, I'm not going to lie and say I wasn't a little bit scared. It definitely, was challenging, but the experience was amazing. I mean, I got it on Insta Story too. Thank God.
I saw everything.
Oh, you did?
I've been looking at all your travels, and I have seen the most beautiful thing. I want to go to Japan.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I swam in waterfalls, meditated in waterfalls.
Where you were in Japan looked like my heaven.
Yeah.
Like the most serene place I've ever seen.
Yeah. Kagoshima, Japan is truly like another planet. Shane, the guy that went with me to help with the videos and the pictures and stuff, we were both awestruck. I mean, we were just speechless at times because we would just be cruising up the road, and there'd be a 90-foot waterfall and no one in it. Wow. I mean, to be fair, there were signs everywhere that said danger, don't go in. And the first thing we did was take off our shirts and dive in. Yeah, it's pretty special. And life is really amazing. And my whole message to anybody, aside from SunLife and wanting to make people healthy and love, heal, inspire, which is on every wall and every SunLife that you go into, that came from me talking to the original group when we had 30 employees or 50 employees, whatever it was. There's 400 employees now.
Wow.
But when I was talking to the original large group, and I said, guys, I'll bet any one of you in this room that every single one of our customers has a juicer at home. In fact, probably have a blender, might even have 2. No one is coming in here for juices and smoothies. People are coming in here because we are delivering happiness. People are coming in here because they need to feel a sense of community, because this so-called social media is destroying us. Depression, anxiety, suicide rates are skyrocketing as a result of social media. It's making us so much further apart. So when people walk in the doors of SunLife Organics, our job is to love them. Our job is to heal them. Our job is to inspire them. It's, make them a juice and a smoothie too, and hopefully they buy something when they're here. But we are a business and we do need to pay the rent, and I got to pay your payroll. But remember that your job is not to make juices and smoothies. That's a side product. That's a side gig. Your job is to look people in the eyes, to acknowledge them, to remember their names, to ask them how their daughter's doing, ask them how their dog is doing, ask them whatever. I can't tell you how many hundreds of stories that have been emailed to me, DM'd to me, Facebook message to me about how there's this woman there's a woman in Pasadena. I didn't know anything about this. I have nothing to do with it. And this is what I'm saying. SunLife is very special today without me, right? It was a great idea, but this woman was going in there with her son, and her son has autism. And apparently it's a pretty severe form of autism. And she was taking her son in there every single day because it was the only place where he wasn't I don't know how she framed it, but having fits, essentially. The moment he walked in, he was just happy. And the kids there, they knew his name, they knew his drink, they knew not to touch him, they knew how to, engage with him. And unbeknownst to me, I think the manager's name is Jordan, or was at the time. Or maybe it was Tori. But anyway, they threw him a surprise 15 birthday party.
No way.
Yeah. And the mom lost it. The mom thought it was the greatest thing ever. They got balloons. They got, and I hear stories like that about my employees all the time. I hear about how someone lost their dog and how they gave them a gift card, not out of my pocket, out of their own pocket. Because I always say to everybody working for me, if someone comes in and they're really hurting, if they're crying, if they're upset, ask somebody how they're doing. And if you can afford it, treat them, but treat them out of your own pocket, right? If you don't have the money, if you can't afford it, I will give you the money. I will literally hand you the cash back. But I want these young kids to understand what it's like to treat somebody. You're telling the story about your boyfriend. I've treated thousands and thousands of people to smoothies or to bowls or whatever. Look, let's get the shallow part out of the way first. Many of the times it was a hot young, 28-year-old girl like yourself. Okay. That's not me being a good guy. That's me being a flirt, and that's me being an insecure male, or that's me looking for some attention. I'm guilty of that. I'm sure I treated Bella Hadid the first time she walked in.
I would too.
No, she ended up working for us.
She did?
Yeah, she worked there for 2 years.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, her Bella and Gigi are amazing. Before they were huge models, obviously. But there's a lot of old ladies that were having a bad day, or the mailman looked disgruntled, or the delivery guy that was bringing in our stuff looked like he was having a really tough day. And I'm thrilled to treat people like that. And who benefits? You know the answer, because you're a giving, loving person. I benefit.
Yeah, it feels
when I'm
good.
treating someone, I benefit. I saw something in your husband or boyfriend, fiance. I saw something in your soon-to-be husband that I was looking at a mirror of myself. There was the light in him. The yogis say namaste or whatever. I honor whatever it is in you that's in me. I saw a young man that wanted something that I had created. That Wolverine is my creation.
Yes, and it's so good.
It's kind of like you saying hey, I love that one song, and me being the guy that wrote the song. Well, that was what it was like for your boyfriend to come in and to want that Wolverine, and then be like, oh man, I don't have enough money on me. And I'm like, cool, let me buy it for you.
Yeah.
I'm the one that gets to feel great about that. And although I don't remember that particular experience, I hear stories all the time about people that had lost their dogs, or one woman in Calabasas who lost her husband. And when she came in and the girl behind the counter said, are you okay? And she said, you don't want to know. And she's like, I do. And she just completely broke down and started crying and said, I lost my husband. He died. And she came out from behind the counter and she said, can I give you a hug? And she said, yes. And she hugged her and she treated her to a smoothie. And 3 years later, I was in Cross Creek and this woman walks in and she keeps looking at me I'm like, do I know this woman? And she's in the line and she's looking at me and she's looking at me. And finally she gets up close and the kid's ringing her up. And I'm like, hi. And she's like, you're Khalil, aren't you? And I said, yeah. And she goes, I'm like, I'm thinking she's going to say, I read your book or whatever, right? Because me, it's about me. Like, pay attention to me. And she said, I just want to let you know that Rocky, who works at your Calabasas location, 3 years ago on this day, asked me how I was doing. And I broke down sobbing and crying because my husband had just died. And she treated me to my smoothie that day. And she said, I've been going into that store every single day since then because it makes me feel good. And it reminds me of my husband. And today is the 3-year anniversary of that. And I wanted to come and give you a hug and acknowledge you. And
wow, that puts tears in my eyes.
It was a heavy moment. And human being to human being, what took place in that situation was what was the reason why I wanted to start SunLife Organics. There was so much nurturing and healing that went on in my life with my little hippie friend Sean bringing me juices and bringing me nuts and bringing me avocados and all that and goji berries and nursing me back to life from a 109-pound broken, shattered man into a 161-pound happy, healthy, athletic man. You know, it took an entire village to raise an idiot. And that's the intention behind the brand. And you can't make that shit up. You can't fake that shit. There's no, Darren Romanelli, the branding expert who is a great customer and I love, did not help me come up with my fonts and my colors. Everything you see when you walk into a SunLife Organics is just the inside of my head. That's
so cool.
That's all it is.
With your beautiful lotus flower.
Yeah. And the Be Here Now. And
the Be Here Now.
People walk in and they're like
famous on Instagram now. Everybody snaps there.
People walk in and they're like, why do you have a unicorn with a rainbow horn on the wall? And my answer is always, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
How could
all
you
the things
not?
that make you happy.
This is like having a unicorn on the wall is like just as cool as not having to use an alarm clock anymore because I'm rich.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
The inside of your brain.
Yeah.
Is a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Do you have a favorite on the menu at SunLife?
Right now, it's the Keto Power Shake. And then I bounce back and forth in between the $1 billion bowl. And by the way, if you're listening to this podcast and you see me and you actually walk up to me and say, I listened to you on Jordan's show, you need to order the $1 billion bowl.
I haven't had that yet.
Well, it's a $35 bowl.
Oh, so that's what they should
That's what
tell
they should
you.
do. Yeah. Like hold me accountable.
Yes.
Yes.
I need to try it.
Anytime.
Is it full of all the superfoods?
It's got everything. I mean, it is massive. It's loaded up with collagen and vegan protein powder. I know that's a bit contradicting, but whatever. It's everything I want in the entire shop in a bowl. So it's got all your berries and all your polyphenols and all your antioxidants, but it's also got the vegan protein powder, which I love. It's got the collagen, lotus pollen, maca powder, raw cacao, goji berries, cashew butter, raw local honey, and like Brad is the dude that helped me to create it. Do you know Brad? You know the redheaded kid that works at SunLife? He's not a kid. He's 30, but
I don't know if I know him.
No, Brad helps me with the recipes, and he's amazing at it. He's getting so good at it. I'm starting to dislike him because now some of his recipes are challenging my recipes, and I'm not so sure I like that. I'm kidding if he's listening. So Brad is the one that helped me put everything together and make it palatable and make it tasty, and it's an amazing bowl. So I love the $1 billion bowl. I love the Keto Power Shake. Oh, the Matcha Goddess, the smoothie.
Ooh, I have to try that.
Yeah.
My favorite is the mint chip.
Mint chip's awesome.
It's so good.
Yeah. That's like Brad's recipe. So thanks for
Brad.
Twisting the knife.
It's delicious.
Now
but there's so many good. What I used to always get it's actually not on the menu anymore, like a paleo bowl. It was like some kind of grass-fed yogurt kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Bowl. That was good.
My other partner said it didn't sell enough, so she took it off the menu.
I used to always get that.
Yeah.
In between not being vegan anymore and being vegan again. That was I
got it every morning.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But everything else is good.
Thank you.
You don't have to worry about it.
Thank you. Lots of great new stuff coming out. Second book coming out. I think there's a documentary coming out. These really cool dudes from Hollywood want to do a documentary called I Forgot to Die. So
Oh my God.
yeah.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah.
So has that started?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's so fun.
Yeah, it's kind of like a chef's table vibe, sort of. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I love it.
Me like swimming with dolphins and, meditating under
Going to
waterfalls.
Japan.
And, all that stuff.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So do you have a spiritual practice now? Now that all these different spiritual aspects have influenced your own healing, do you have like a daily practice?
I do, yeah. It involves a lot of prayer and a lot of meditation, but I don't spend any time at all trying to name God or figure out the name of God. I just pray a lot. I pray before each meal, and I pray when I'm walking. I walk on the beach a lot, barefoot, and ground myself to the earth. I do sauna 5 or 6 days out of 7, both the barrel sauna, the giant one that gets really hot, as well as the clear light far infrared sauna. I have both at my place. My place is like small. It's not tiny. It's like, I don't know, 1,600, 1,800 square feet, but it's 3 levels, and I gutted it, and I rebuilt it, and I made it perfect. So I've got the sauna, I've got the Japanese soaking tub that stays cold all the time.
So awesome.
Yeah, it's at 38 degrees.
Oh, Jonathan would die.
Yeah.
He loves all that cold stuff.
So I've got that. I've got the, I do the sauna. I do the cold plunge. I swim in the ocean. I like to do this thing where I like to go like pick up. I don't talk about this stuff, but you asked, so I'm going to tell you. I like to pick up trash on the beach when I'm walking, and for 2 purposes. Well, it makes me feel amazing, and it's the right thing to do. But then also, they have these garbage cans all along Westward Beach and Zuma Beach, and they're not that far apart, but they're far apart. And I walk at the water's edge because I feel like that's where you get the most negative ions and the grounding of the earth. But when I see the trash, I'll run really fast up to the garbage can, throw it in the garbage can, and then run back and then walk. So, I get really good exercise from that.
Yeah.
And I try to, and this is a Mark Sisson idea. I didn't come up with this, but I try to, like, once a week or 2 or 3 times a month, to sprint as fast as I can in the sand, just to be a kid again, and just to release all of those hormones and whatever is going on when you're sprinting like that. I love yoga. I own a yoga studio, so I do a good bit of yoga. But my spiritual practice, because I have a very technical daily practice, but my spiritual practice is very much like if I were 4 years old and you were my mom, and every day I'm just going to say, can you please hold my hand? Can you please walk with me right now? Can you please show me the world the way that you want me to see it? Because you're my mom and I trust you. And I know you're going to protect me and love me. So my relationship with my spiritual practice, or my relationship with God, it's very, very, very simple and childlike. There's nothing ceremonial about it. I went through a lot of spiritual pride in my early sobriety. I went off to India for a month and went out to all the temples, and I went to Indonesia for a month and chanted and did the yoga and got all the right beads and the right, dots on my head and ceremonial headdresses, and I burned the right incense and chanted because this supposed hugging saint told me to chant this chant, and then this monk or lama told me to chant this other chant. Like, I used to have all the right chants and all the right clothes and all the right postures and all the right things to say. I got too caught up in that stuff, and it started to look like spiritual pride. I can be pretty articulate at times, especially if I have a little caffeine in me, and just caught myself sharing at 12-step meetings like a pompous asshole, and getting away from the purpose of having a spiritual practice is to be close to God. And God, I feel like if I just communicate authentically in a simple manner, the results are much, much more profound. God, please be with me now. God, can you please hold my hand? I still suffer from anxiety and depression. I still suffer from sometimes an overwhelming sense of impending doom. And I'm still haunted sometimes by my demons late at night. If I wake up at 3:00 in the morning, I will go into this bizarre, like, I'm scared of the dark all of a sudden. I think there's something under the bed, or I'm scared there's something in the closet. I go into this weird, thing, and I just got to keep my relationship with my creator, with our creator, whatever, just super simple. Just, God, can you please be with me right now? God, thank you for this meal. God, thank you for the massive abundance and prosperity flowing into my life right now. When I'm walking with, shirtless and the sun's coming down, I'm going up Zuma Canyon hiking, I'll say, out loud, thank you for this perfect health, this perfect wealth, and this perfect love. And I just say it over and over again out loud. Thank you for this perfect health, perfect wealth, and perfect love. And who knows, man? Maybe I'm just one of those crazy whack job old man, like talking to himself now, whatever. But I'm just doing the best that I can in the day that I'm in. And I'm really, really giving it my best to become the man that God intended me to become. Be a good son, be a good neighbor, serve good food, be a good boss. I mess up every day. I'm still a jerk. So I walked in last night. My girlfriend was on the sofa, and we have a great relationship, and we very, very rarely argue. And I walked in last night. My girlfriend was on the sofa, and she was watching the show Barry that I love, but she was watching the newest episode.
Mm-hmm.
Which
that's I know that feeling.
What? And I'm like, what are you doing? And she doesn't answer because she's not an idiot. She's not a child, right? She doesn't even answer. I go, what are you doing? I'm taking off my shoes. And she says, why are you yelling? I'm like, because you're watching this. And she's just looking at me and she's like, why are you raising your voice? And I'm like, because you're watching my favorite show and you're watching the episode that I haven't seen. And she just very calmly says, you've already seen this episode and there's absolutely no reason to raise your voice. And I 3 more times said, I haven't seen this episode and blah, 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 blah. And as I'm saying it for the 3rd time, the kid in the background says, Daddy, watch this. And she does a cartwheel. And I'm like, oh shit, I saw this like 2 episodes ago.
That is hilarious.
And she just looked at me and she went like this. And I laid down and I said, I am so sorry. I was wrong.
I love it.
You were right. And I put my head on her chest and she rubbed my shoulders and I ended up falling asleep. She was catching up. She had fallen asleep while I had gone 3 episodes further because I'm a jerk. And she's amazing. And,
I love it. That sounds like such a familiar scene.
I mean, look, men are not that bright a lot of times and women are much, much more evolved. And we got to get together because that sort of seems how Mother Nature works, unless, of course, you're into the same sex or whatever. But even that probably, you can be dealing with a petulant child at times.
Yes.
I'm really still very flawed and very insecure. And last night is an example of, I would have bet money. I would have bet 10 grand. She would never do that because she's not a child, but I would have literally bet her $10,000 that I hadn't seen that episode yet and was acting like an idiot. So I got a long ways to go. I mean, I present well on social media. My pictures are shiny and edited properly and glossy, and I only post the good stuff. I love how you posted the picture of the rash. Like, holy.
Yeah, that was my life.
You are
for 9 months.
You are bold. You are strong. You are powerful. I mean, you're gorgeous as well. And you're even more beautiful in person, which I commented on one of your pictures.
That was the best comment.
It's shocking how much more beautiful you are in person. And it's it's always the opposite of that, Yeah. Especially with the so-called Instagram models.
I know.
Yeah.
It's so true. Well, I have to tell you, you truly emanate. There's like light that comes out of your face. Like,
thank you.
I can see your soul through your eyes. It's pretty piercing.
Thank you.
When I look at you, like this happens sometimes. When I look at somebody, their whole face dissolves and I see it's happening right now.
Wow.
Such pure light.
Thank you.
So beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I got nothing to do with that. That's my mom and me and probably a little bit of my dad and
It's
my
your
creator.
soul.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so happy that you're here. We could
Me
literally
too.
talk forever.
Yeah, literally.
So we'll have you back because
Okay.
we could talk about so many different subjects. We can
Yeah.
talk about your new book, all the different things that you're going to teach people in remembering to live.
Yeah.
So
Remembering to live.
yes, thank you so much for being here.
My absolute pleasure. This was a lot of fun.
It was so
interesting
fun.
not being able to hear myself, but
I know, right? So I need to figure that out.
no,
I
it's
need
good.
To talk
It challenged me to like get outside of my comfort zone and
Right.
really like pay attention to what I'm saying. And no, this is good.
Yeah,
This is really good.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can people find you?
People can find me 29169. Oh, no, I'm talking about
social media, SunLife cafes.
People can find me at Khalil Rafati, which is KHALILRAFATI, Khalil Rafati, or at Khalil Rafati. That's on Instagram. I don't really do Facebook. I mean, if you went to my high school in Toledo, Ohio, and I see that, I'm going to hit accept. But in general, Facebook has just gotten weird.
It is.
Yeah.
Weird.
And mostly on Instagram stories, and usually at like any of the Malibu SunLifes. There's 2 in Malibu or Century City. I love going there as well. Sometimes Calabasas, Thousand Oaks, and Palisades Village as well. I don't make it out too much to like USC. I don't make it to the USC location that much.
I didn't even know there was one over there.
There's one on campus at USC, and
awesome.
I find yeah, it's super busy. We do really amazing numbers there, but I do find myself sometimes feeling a little bit sorry for myself if I sit there long enough and think like, man, this would have been cool, you know? Like I'm not pro college. I'm anti college unless you know what you want to do. Like if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a film director or something that requires a college education and you know that, like go do the shit out of college. But if you're like young and you have no idea what you want to do with your life, like, I don't know, man. I don't like going and spending $200,000 to go get a degree in, what do they call it? Communications?
Mm-hmm.
Like go read a book.
I agree.
Go watch a
totally
documentary.
Agree.
Like I'm, you know, I was such a dummy until I was in my early 20s and I started going to Lemley's Fourplex in Santa Monica. And the only reason I went in is because there was this like these 3 like really hot women on this movie poster and one guy. And I walked in, I didn't even know what a foreign film was. And I walked in and they start talking like whatever they're talking, like French or Italian or something. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? And then I see the subtitles and I'm like trying to follow along and I'm trying to watch the movie and follow along or whatever. And I ended up going back over and over again because I wanted to understand the movie. Plus it was beautifully shot. It was such an amazing movie. It was, I'm going to forget her name, of course, but I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's like Ibel Epec, like the beautiful episode or something like that. And it was about a soldier that had deserted the army and he went to move in with this family because he had to hide and all the daughters fell in love with him. Of course, such an idiot guy, 20-year-old guy thing, but like, it was like, you know, every guy's fantasy when you're 20. But I became obsessed with going and I just kept going back and I kept watching more and more foreign films. And then ultimately I would watch them right when they would come out. So then I found Blockbuster on Montana Avenue and they had this whole foreign film section. And I just literally went from A to Z.
Wow.
And then back again. And every day I just kept watching foreign films. And then ultimately that led to me reading books because I just wanted more and I wanted more and I wanted more. So I was able to develop a vocabulary and I was able to develop the ability to communicate. And your ability to communicate is like so intrinsically related to how successful you're going to be in this world.
That's so true.
Learn to communicate. And you know, I always run the risk of hurting someone's feelings by saying, don't go get a degree in communications. I'm just coming from personal experience. I paid for my ex's student loans. I paid them off for her, and I paid for her to go through school, and I paid the rent at the time. Like, I'm probably part of that is because I'm a good guy, and probably part of that is because I was insecure and felt like I didn't deserve her, and I wanted some sort of upper hand in the relationship. I don't know. I mean, we would have to get a psychologist in here to break it down, but she graduated and spent all that money and all that time, and she's never done anything with that degree.
Right.
Other than it sits in the closet somewhere.
It happens. Yeah. It does.
So I don't know. I'm not like a big college person. I think you can like read books and like, save and invest your money and go do amazing things. Don't ever let a lack of education hold you back from living a life beyond your wildest dreams.
I love that. Boom.
Boom.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Air One glass bottle drop.
Yes. Air One glass bottle drop. It's perfect for us. Well, you're amazing. We're going to have you back. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this Best of the Show episode. I'm so happy to be able to release some of these episodes with our very inspiring guests. And I know some of these are solo episodes, so whichever you just listened to, I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that it served you well on your path and left you feeling inspired to live a more soul on fire life. So please, if this show served you or inspired you, I would be so honored if you would leave a rating and review in iTunes if you have time this week or anytime. And if you send me a screenshot to Jordan@thebalanceblonde.com, I will send you a free gift as a thank you. Also, please join us in our Soul on Fire podcast tribe on Facebook. Be sure to check out and support our sponsors of the show, which can be found in the show notes. We have some amazing sponsors of this show, from Four Sigmatic Mushroom Coffee to Cured Nutrition, CBD, to Hum Nutrition, beauty supplements. So these are things that I take every single day that I want everyone to know about. So definitely check out all of those discount codes that you can find in the show notes, because this is stuff that I want you to enjoy to the fullest and use in your life, and also get those special discount codes. So thank you so much for being here. I'm already so excited to come back with new episodes after my hiatus, and I hope that me putting myself first during this season of my life will inspire you to do the same in your life, whatever you are dealing with or going through. And if you're more interested to hear about my time off and my hiatus, I have a solo episode all about it that you can find. I believe it is, let's see here, episode 156. So enjoy that if you haven't listened yet, and have an amazing Soul on Fire day. I love you. I'm so happy that you're here. And just know that when I am ready to be back, I will be back with bells on, and can't wait to connect then. I love you guys. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm not currently taking an Instagram hiatus, so you can find me at The Balanced Blonde there, and let's connect. Mwah. Have an amazing day.